It's Vernisa, and I'm here to speak up. It's time to speak up. Hello, everyone. My name is Vernisa, and this is my podcast, Speak Up. Hope you guys are all having a great week so far. I'm happy to be here. It's the middle of the month. Feeling really good. Had a great weekend. Hope you guys had a great weekend as well. For those of you that don't know, this podcast has a mission statement of we will use our voices to motivate people to overcome life challenges through self-love and respect. So for the new listeners out there, that's what this podcast is about, and I hope you enjoy the show. Before I get started, a quick shout out to my amazing sponsors. Shout out to My Bar, located at 720 East Manchester in Inglewood, California. Get your nails, your lashes, your hair done. Ask for mine. Tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram is at myy.bar. And also a quick shout out to Be Actual Natural. Why settle for less? All their products are created with you in mind for a goal to let your self-love show through your self-care. The chemical-free hair and skincare products are handmade, plant-based, and free of fillers or preservatives. Treat yourself by taking care of yourself. Start your journey at www.beactualnatural.com. The Instagram is at beactualnatural. So I'm excited for tonight's episode. I'm going to take it a little easy and a little smooth. We made it to the middle of the year. And, as much as we're talking about, it's the middle of the year, let's get this grind on, let's finish strong, which is extremely true. Have you been allowing yourself to rest? And I think, that's a big thing to talk about because, we romanticize the grind, romanticize all the hard work and dedication, but are we taking the time to nurture ourselves physically, mentally? Rest is very good for you. And I think it's not talked about enough. We talk about self-love and inner peace, but what's self-love and inner peace without actual rest? So I'm going to get into that today and I'm going to get deep in it. It's not going to be just simple, just take a nap, this and that. I'm about to really talk about some things that go with it. So tonight's Acts Up, it's time for our Acts Up segment. So tonight's Acts Up of the day is, do you have a healthy relationship with rest? And this is a big one. I know it's a weird question. It's I don't know if people think about that, So if you're out there listening, please feel free to comment. I would love to hear your feedback on how is your relationship with rest. I think we need to take the time to reflect on that. We're doing a lot of self-reflecting. I've been talking about that a lot on this platform, but I think this is a big one to definitely talk about. So I guess I'll go ahead and answer the question. I'm going to be honest with you guys on here. I would say no. And I say that because I'm actually a person who would shame myself for resting too much, and not because I don't feel like I need sleep or anything. I always let my ambition take over. I've always been the type I'll get up, do what I got to do, and I feel like I would have unproductive time and feel like it has to be productive at all times. There's nothing wrong with getting shit done, right? Getting things done when you can, doing what you got to do. However, not all unproductive time has to be productive. And I think we shouldn't shame ourselves when especially our body is telling us that we need to rest and it's time to take a break. And rest doesn't even have to be sleeping. It could be sometimes just sitting there, having a day where you're just letting your creative side come out. I'm starting to see rest differently too. Sometimes I just lay on the floor and stare at the ceiling, and that's me resting. Or I take some time to stretch. That's me resting, So it's different ways to rest. Writing, little calm hobbies, going outside, taking a walk, all those things to me count as rest. I'm not necessarily just talking about sleep here, but a rest from this crazy world. On a previous episode, the topic came up how this world is loud and sometimes we have to turn it off. And I think rest allows you to do that, you know what I mean? And I get so caught up in everything that's going on. So let's talk about the importance of having a healthy relationship with rest. I think it's very important because, when you do feel like you need to rest, you're not going to get mad at yourself or shame yourself, and you're going to welcome it more into your life. And I think also having a healthy relationship with rest is having a balance with rest. So I'm not saying sit here, rest all the time, always sleep, don't get your stuff done, but it's really about that balance of that. I'm knowing, okay, it's time for me to feed my rest. It's time for me to give into that. And knowing okay, I had enough rest. Now it's time for me to get out there and do what I need to do. Actually, this past weekend that just passed, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I had a weekend where I actually allowed myself to fully rest. And I've been feeling so recharged ever since. I didn't realize how much I needed it. I think sometimes we're on auto mode, we're on autopilot. We're just trying to get things done. and then we don't realize that we haven't really took time to rest. Like, yeah, we went to sleep. Like, yeah, I feel like too, you can have a night's rest and not fully be rested. And I say that because sometimes we're just on that calendar, like, okay, I slept for 5 or 6 hours. That was me resting. But it's like, was it effective rest if you were still like kind of on this routine mode, you know? And I think when I'm talking about rest, I mean like really just shutting things off and really allowing yourself to like really rest and get your mind in order. You know, my relationship with rest has definitely changed over the years. I would say, like I just mentioned before, I don't have a healthy relationship with rest. I'm still working on it, but I feel like it used to be worse, like where like it really was a thing. Like I always had to be doing something, even if it wasn't productive. Like I felt like I couldn't just lay there. Like even let's say I finished everything productive that I needed to do for the week, I would still like make myself get dressed and be out doing something. You know, whether and like make up things to do, and you know, something wrong with keeping your mind busy. You know, I think it's a good choice, especially when I see elderly people. Like I buy my grandparents, like they're very active for their age, and like you know, they're always like going to the store doing things. You know, and I think that's healthy and well. But like they allow themselves to rest as well. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's definitely important to put that in there. And I think over this time, I really been seeing the importance of it. Like, I love how nice my skin looks, how clear my mind is, how I can speak. You know, I feel more energized. I actually want to take on more tasks. You know, when I'm like super exhausted, I feel like the smallest things seem like such a hassle to do. And I think we've normalized this grind environment. We always got to be doing something. We always got to be this and that we don't realize that we're not taking the time to have effective rest. You could be resting, but is it effective? Is it feeding your mind? Are you allowing yourself to pour into yourself? Sometimes too, rest is putting your phone on don't disturb, not even answering nobody, and kind of like getting yourself in order. So let's talk about how staying busy can be used as a trauma response. I definitely can relate to this as well. Feeling like I can't explain, you know, I feel like I use staying busy as a way to distract myself from certain things I was feeling, certain things I was going through. You know, I felt like I had to like, oh, if I just get this done, get that done, I'm gonna get out of a current situation. And as much as that's true and needed, if I don't have any energy, if I'm on E, how can I get anything done? If I fall out right there, how can I get anything done? And it's real to get real with yourself and realize what is causing you to not want to rest in the first place, or why is it a trauma response? What are you distracting yourself from? What are you trying to get away from? And you know, as much as our trauma is motivation to get up and do what we got to do, we got to know too we are worthy of resting. You know, and allowing ourselves to recharge in peace. I'm sorry, I forgot to say the title for tonight. Tonight's episode is Recharged in Peace. Okay, so we're recharging, we're being at peace with it, with our self-love and our inner peace. And it's okay to pause. I said this on a previous episode too, you know, sometimes we think pausing is just giving up or quitting. And no, you just paused it. Pushing the stop button is quitting or giving up. But pushing the pause button, sometimes it's a quick little pause and you get right back on track. I used to have a problem with pausing. I used to find pausing as a waste of time. Like, oh no, I could be getting this done. But then what's the point if nothing effective is being done? I'm not even utilizing my best self to get whatever it is. That's like, you know, I like to write poetry. If I'm trying to rush a poem, or if I'm tired when I'm trying to write, anything's just going to come out. But if my mind is clear, I can literally tap into that creative zone. And this grind we're talking about, it's not just work or a business. It can be your creative side. You know, you need rest to even tap into that creative side. I saw this post online that said creatives need days where they just sit around and do nothing. And I completely agree with that. You know, that's where your juices flow. Even for the show, like things that I think about, you know, even when, you know, me and Jen did the show together, it came from those times of just sitting there and kind of thinking and allowing ourselves to rest so our minds can go deep into these episodes. Because I'm gonna be real, talking on a podcast for an hour straight, that takes mental clarity, especially the type of podcast that this is, you know, that's trying to make an impact, trying to inspire others. It takes a lot of energy. So it's like, I need to be well rested to have that clear mind. So for any of you guys doing anything that's act of service for somebody or something for yourself, something for the community, please take that pause and rest so you can be your best self when you're out there doing that. And also, self-reflection happens during rest. That too. You guys ever had a day where you just laid in bed and you felt like you laid in bed and you were able to really think about things that happened to you in the past month, the past week? You came up with a new goal, or you came up with some new self-realization. That's essential. When we're in grind mode all day, we don't even have time to think about nothing. although it's good sometimes, I'm not saying let your feelings get the best of you, being your feelings all the time. Your feelings gonna find you eventually, because I'm gonna be real, that's happened to me a few times where I tried to numb certain things that I felt, and then it hit me later in that resting period. But guess what? It had to come out, because if it didn't come out, it would have festered inside of me. And that's a big one. Your body will force you to rest. This is like the huge one. I don't know how many guys been sick before, and you've ignored it, and it really hit you where it put you on your back. And our bodies will talk to, like, they'll force us. They'll send us that reminder, like, oh, I need some rest, I need to sleep. And then I don't know where you look up, you have a headache, your body's aching, you're not feeling well, and it's like you have to kind of pause and sit there. I've been there before, and honestly, it's not fun. I remember there was a time I literally overworked myself, and I was like on to work doing this hustling. One time my body just collapsed. I was in the shower, and actually I was in the shower, and I got out the shower, and I just fell to the floor because I was so just tired, and I wasn't listening to my body. And then from there, that's when I realized, like, okay, I need to slow down. There's nothing wrong wearing multiple hats, but shoot, them multiple hats require more rest. But it's okay. We want to take on all these things, do all this stuff, conquer the world. And hey, I'm all for it. I'm ambitious too. I feel that. However, if you're not resting, if you're not drinking enough water, you're not getting your sleep, you're not pausing, you're not taking your time. Oh, don't get me into taking your time. There's importance in that as well too. That rush stuff isn't effective, and I think when you're well rested, you actually can move faster and be effective. But when you're tired trying to do that, it's either one or the other. I've definitely felt guilty for having that unproductive time. Like, there's days, like, literally, like I said, all my productive stuff is done, and I literally have a day where I can just lay there or watch a movie. And I just started getting into shows and movies. I never really watched TV like that. I still really don't. But every now and then, I've been allowing myself to utilize unproductive time. And I say that loudly. Please utilize your unproductive time in an unproductive way sometimes. You feel better. You really do. And I'm not saying be lazy or anything, but it's just, let's get into that. There's a difference between resting and being lazy. Yeah. Being lazy is when you feel unmotivated, you're choosing to procrastinate when you have a lot to do. I'm talking about when you're done with things that you need to do, you finally have a minute where you can indulge in some enjoyment. Why not? You know what I mean? And then you feel recharged. I've been learning, it's okay to book that massage, take that walk, go on that trip, do something out of the ordinary. I actually went to a yacht party this past weekend, and I'm so happy I went because it's not something I normally would do, but I carved out time for that resting. I count that as resting because it's like me doing something different that's good, and it's enjoyment. And it's like, I can explain how it set the tone for this week so far. It uplifted my energy, being around people that I care about, they care about me, genuine people, and just having a good time and enjoying, being on the water. The water is very healing. So, find whatever that is for you and indulge a little bit in that. You deserve it, especially if you out there working hard. You have to reward yourself. Pat yourself back on the journey. I was a person who never gave myself credit. I would wait until the end result is done, then I'll give myself that credit. Or people would have to tell me to give myself that credit. I'm learning no, it's okay to celebrate along the way. You know what I mean? And then make yourself feel good for doing what you got to do. And, there's a relationship between rest and worthiness. I think sometimes we don't feel worthy of the rest. I think because, let's say there's a goal you're trying to accomplish and, you're still not there. I think we punish ourselves by not giving ourselves that rest that we need. The clarity is going to come from the rest to actually move forward and to come up with that creative idea to enhance whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. You have to allow yourself to sit back sometimes. I used to, I'm still dealing with this too. I don't know if you guys are common. If you are, control issues. I feel like I have to control every outcome, everything that's around me. And I'm learning okay, what can I do in this moment? And how can I just sit back and see how it plays out? And then move from there and cross the bridge when I get there, versus thinking of every scenario and then feeding my overthinking that, guess what, stops me from resting. Because there's been times when I've been in a space where I can finally rest, but then this is still awake. Yes, my body is laying down. I'm in the bed, covers on, feeling good, but this is still not resting. And, it's beautiful when you can get this to rest and your mental and your physical to rest at the same time. That's where I'm hitting at here. I'm not even just talking about physical rest in this episode. There's rest in this too. Do we think how many thoughts a day? Comment if you know. They say, I forgot the number. It's like an average of how many thoughts we think a day. So this is always on. And I've been learning the beauty of like sitting my phone down. I'm on my phone a lot. And I think, it's not even just socially, it's like with the podcast, other business ventures. However, if it's resting time, it's time for me to rest and even shut that off as well. And this free time also allows you to focus on those suppressed feelings. Grind mode, we never got time to cry, right? You doing your thing. But then I'm one of those people, it all hits me at once. Like I could literally mask it, do what I got to do, keep my composure. But then when it hits me, it hits me. And I've been learning, I actually talked to a close friend of mine and my little sister. They were both saying, let that stuff out. And you have to, because if you don't let out those suppressed feelings, you're going to be holding that baggage with you on the journey, on the grind. And guess what? That's going to slow you down because it's still kind of there lingering. And then when it does pop, guess what? You have to push the pause button. You're forcing yourself because of whatever it is you've been holding on to. So, there's beauty in that vulnerability. Resting time allows you to be vulnerable. Allows you to be vulnerable with your body, with your mind, with your heart, with your spirit. All those things with others. It doesn't mean something's wrong. It doesn't mean you gave up. It doesn't mean you're weak either. Resting doesn't mean you're weak. I want to emphasize that. I think we put weakness and resting in the same category. And it's like, no, you're just recharging so you can do what you got to do. So definitely want to throw that in there for tonight's episode. It is time for the tweet up segment. So you guys know that I like to be on Twitter. So something that I tweeted this week that goes with tonight's episode is the best productivity comes from the well-rested version of you. So this definitely going into what I'm saying. You create effective productivity when you are well-rested. I don't like BS work. I like things done correctly. And I'm like, if we're going to BS it, what's the point of even doing it, right? So if you're just trying to rush to get something done, it's not going to be effective. It's not going to be what you want. And you're going to end up actually taking more time because you're going to have to keep starting over to fix it and redo it. So please allow yourself to rest. And, I also, I'm going to say this too. An effective grind is better than a tired grind. You seen somebody grind and they just look worn out. They're going to fall. No. It's not good for our bodies. It's not good for ourselves. And, if you can't take a big old chunk of time and really rest, because, we're all on different schedules. I don't know everybody's, work schedule, business schedule, because I get it. We're all different. We're on, try to find those mini breaks to do that. We all have 5 minutes, even if it's just in the bathroom. I remember a yoga, I want to say she was a yoga instructor, a meditation instructor. Came to my last job. And she said, sometimes you just got to go in that bathroom and take 5 deep breaths. And then that's your way of just husaing that moment out. So it's like, we have many moments within our day, somehow, some way, to just take a deep breather, to shut our eyes for a second, something. That's like also another way to rest, or just take a break and look away. Utilize your breaks too. Like for people who do work 9 to 5s as well, we have breaks that we're supposed to take. Utilize those breaks, every minute of them. That way you can do your best on your job as well. Entrepreneurs out there, please take your break. Please eat your meal. Eat, rest, sleep. It's just that reminder that's needed, because I know, with us entering the middle of the year, there's that pressure like, oh, I got to make the rest of this year count. But it ain't going to count if you fall out before it even finishes, before you can finish what you have to do. So, I have to throw that in there. So it is time for the Life Up segment. So the Life Up segment is when I take the topic and I relate it to today's world. So tonight's Life Up segment is rest being seen as a privilege and not a necessity. So it's true. We do see it that way. It's like, oh, it must be nice. We see, and I think too, we get caught up in oftentimes comparing ourselves to people who actually can get to rest all the time. Because some people have children, there's different things. But I want to say it is a necessity and it should be prioritized in somehow, some way. Because I'm going to be real, you cannot continue if you're not, at least try to squeeze in a little bit of rest every now and then, a break, at least something, and also too, the toxic positivity on how the grind don't stop. We hear this notion everywhere. It's in every song. this and that, but like, can we preach taking care of yourself while being on the grind? This stuff isn't easy. Anything that you're going after, whether it is you're working, you're an entrepreneur, you're taking care of someone, none of it's easy. However, you have to make sure you're good so you can keep going. And I have to emphasize that because, we see so many posts and it's like shaming people when they do need to rest, or like they're having a self-realization moment. Sometimes too, we go through bad storms mentally and you have to allow yourself to get through that. But guess what? Rest is one of the factors that's going to help you. So please prioritize that rest, especially you college students out there. I went through it. Look, it's needed. You want to pass that test, do what you got to do. Another point of the Life Up segment is comparing ourselves to people in different chapters with the term we have the same 24 hours. That's a true statement. We have the same 24 hours, but we don't have the same life. And I think we need to get out of that like, oh, this person did it. This person did it. True, again. But some people are in different circumstances. And I think if you spend your time trying to meet what this other person did, because you never know, they probably had help in a way you're not getting, support in a certain way, money that was just given to them. A reason they can have that, they probably didn't have children and have more time. So we have to get out of that notion of just like seeing, because nothing wrong being inspired by others. Like, okay, this person did it, I could, motivate, or even finding someone with similar background to us and like, feeling inspired because they were able to make something happen. But also you need to be realistic with your own life and understand what circumstances you come from and what you can work with and how much you can get done in that 24 hours. Life has us thinking that everything is so timed, this and that, by this age, this and that. It's like all this everyday pressure. And I'm even trying to work on detaching from that and letting go of the control, and putting more things in God's hands of like where my life is supposed to be and like doing the best that I can and knowing that it's going to work out the way it's supposed to, especially if I put my mind to it and I know which direction I'm going. I think the most important thing to take from here is just having direction. Pace matters, but direction matters more. You could be going a fast pace, but going the wrong way. What direction are you going in? And I think we have to ask ourselves that. And that's why I love to weekly goal set, shoot daily too, because it's nothing wrong. It's nothing like having that agenda of what you want to complete. How do we fix this? Literally everything that I just said, and prioritizing your rest and not comparing yourself to others. And please, get off these cheesy Instagram posts that try to belittle you for taking care of yourself. I don't know. I want to be healthy and well when I get to a certain age, when I get older in age. And I don't want to look back and knew I wore myself out at such a young age because I just felt like time was getting the best of me. So I just have to throw that in there for anybody out there who's putting any extra pressure on themselves. Take a deep breath, let it go, and do what you can. So it is time for the Drink Up segment. So if you're listening out there, please pull out some water and drink some water. And I have a drink up for tonight. Ooh, I needed that. It's so hot. Hope y'all staying cool this summer. So tonight's drink up water fact is, when you're dehydrated, your blood retains more sodium, thickening your blood and making it harder for your blood to circulate through your body. Keeping your body hydrated helps your heart pump blood more easily and allows oxygen to reach your muscles, which helps the muscles work effectively. This is huge. It's hot outside. You do not want to retain a lot of sodium. Please stay hydrated during this heat, and drinking water is just as important as rest is. So this is the perfect episode to definitely have a drink up water fact. So please, I hope you drink some water just now. You're always drinking water. I want to say this too. Remind your loved ones to rest as well. And we all know that one person that does not rest, that I got it. Please remind them to rest. I can't tell you how many times someone has saved me by reminding me to rest. My little sister and my homegirl just saved me last weekend when they reminded me I needed to rest. Like, I had a moment I could rest, but I really needed to rest. But they both talked me into resting. Like, sit down, Bernice, and take the rest. Just lay there. And I can't tell y'all as much. It really helped. So this is coming from experience. Some people need to hear it, especially the super ambitious people who are on the grind. That's what they know. Like, I'm one of those people that can push through the pain. Like, if my mind will keep going. I'm one of those people who tries to find solutions and things. I try to make the most out of my time, even if like a little bit of my time is wasted from something stupid. Like I really will sit there and be mad, like, oh my goodness, I could have been doing this with those 20 minutes. And I'm working on even letting that go because we don't have control of everything, right? So it's like some things are just going to happen and it's okay. And you just have to pivot through. But please remind your loved ones to rest. I have to emphasize that. So call that person, text that person right now in this episode and say, please take a break. Please rest. I'm thinking of you. I think you deserve a break. Right? So just got to throw that in there. So it is now time for the Poet Up segment. So this is one of my newest segments that I added to SpeakUpJV. So y'all know I like to write poetry. So I'll be sharing a quote or two from one of my poems. And hopefully I can get some artists on here to share their poems as well. I can't wait to get another poet on here, actually, because I would love to have that on here. So tonight's Poet Up segment comes to my poem, which is actually a poem to luxury. So here it is. I want you to be familiar like my favorite pillow. As I lay down to rest to enter the dream world, I want you to be realer than a dream in my life, authentic to my lifestyle. So this was a letter to luxury. I've been in this space of welcoming luxury into my life and not feeling like I'm not deserving of it, right? And I think to welcome luxury in life, you have to feel comfortable with it. You have to feel worthy of it. You can't be afraid when it does finally knock at your door. One of my friends always says, ask God to be ready for the blessing when it does appear. So when luxury knocks on your door, welcome it. Make it be familiar, to where you can inspire others and show other people a luxury lifestyle as well. And let go of the poverty mindset. This is huge. Sometimes that poverty mindset is here. It ain't even, you could be in the most luxurious home, but if this mindset is in poverty, does it matter? If you're living in chaos, does the peace around you matter? I'd rather be at peace in here. And then it's like the chaos, so it doesn't matter. Would it matter? So please let go of that poverty mindset. And just because you didn't come from a luxurious background doesn't mean you can't welcome it to your life or put your family in a position to have it in their life as well. I've been learning that, like, you don't have to be a statistic. You don't have to be a product of what you was born into. You can definitely change that narrative. You could definitely break the cycle. And, allowing yourself to rest is, I think, another one. We see it as luxury, but it's really a necessity. But it's like, I think if you start allowing yourself to rest, you'll start feeling worthy of the finer things. You'll start feeling worthy of that soft girl era, the soft era, whatever they call it. I don't even want it to be an era. I want it to be a lifestyle. Like, forget it being just this time period. Like, I want to be able to move in, even when I am on the grind, know that I am comforting myself and allowing myself to rest through it. So now it is time for the show up segment. So how did I show up for myself this week? I showed up for myself this week by, I'll say this weekend. I showed up for myself this weekend by allowing myself to go on that yacht and enjoy myself. I made room for enjoyment. I made room for family time this weekend. And another way, I went to the Hot Water Cornbread Festival and it was so nice to be there, food and stuff. And I saw a lot of entrepreneurs that I knew. And I was able to walk up to them, say hi, and speak life into them. I feel like that's me showing up for myself as well, because I showed up for others. I did something that's an act of my purpose. So that's how I showed up for myself this week. So please comment. How did you show up for yourself this week? I would love to hear you guys and, hold you guys accountable for showing up for yourself this week. And I'm proud of you for showing up for yourself this week. If you're on here watching this episode, I am proud of you for showing up for yourself. So, I think too, back to the episode, we have to figure out what's causing us not to allow ourselves to rest. So like I said, for me, it was a trauma response. It was, feeling like I had to, feeling me blaming myself, me feeling guilty. So it's like, now that I've came to that realization that that's an issue I need to resolve, I see it differently. And now I'm going to really work on that and not feel any way when I'm just like resting or just doing me or having just a moment like that where I'm just kicking back and being Vernisa. So get to the root of that and figure out what it is. And have grace with yourself when you do take a me day to rest. So if you take that rest day, please don't go back thinking like, damn, I could have did this. I've been guilty of that. You don't get that time back anyway. So what's the point of living in the past? You're actually wasting time reflecting back on that rest day that you actually needed, being mad, wish you got something else done. Now, I'm not saying miss a deadline for your me day. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's really about that balance on like, okay, I'm talking about that unproductive time that does come where we kind of force ourselves to do things when our body actually is like, hold on, I need to slow down and breathe for a second. I always talk about my running journey on here. I've been learning the importance of pacing myself on those runs. Like, I got days where my times are faster. I'm doing good. I'm at a good pace. I don't need a break. And then I got days where it's like, okay, my body's like, hold on, slow down a little bit. I might need to walk for a couple seconds and take a little breather and get back on that track. And it's okay. I used to get mad at myself, like, dang, I did so good last week. Why am I running like that this week? And it's like, no, that's how life is. You got weeks where it's like you're like this, and you got weeks where your body wants to slow down. And when you listen to that, you're actually going to have more effective and better results. And you're going to feel better about yourself. At least you're out there doing it, whatever it is that you're working on. So I just want to throw that out there for anyone too, like I said, putting extra pressure on themselves. So it is time for the wrap-up segment. So how does this relate to self-love? Self-love is loving yourself enough to allow yourself to rest. We deserve that. That's you giving yourself that gift, that necessity, allowing yourself to recharge. You're not going to let your phone die. How many of us, when our phone is on 2%, we are rushing for that charger? Shoot, some people don't even let their phone get to 2%, right? We so quick to charge everybody else, make sure everybody else is good. But are you checking in with yourself? Are you making sure you're not on 2%? Ask yourself that. Because I think we should start plugging ourselves in every day so it doesn't even get that low. So the low battery button sign doesn't even come up on ourselves. So please do that. And I want to say this too. A well-rested mind is a clear mind. So allow yourself to rest, have that clear mind. Take your time too. It's so much beauty in just taking your time. I've rushed so much in my life, and I'm like, I've missed so many views of the sun, so many breaths of air, because I was just focused on other things that don't matter when I could have just took my time and strolled through and still got there at the same time wherever it was I was rushing to. And I'm going to wrap up with this. Your life purpose requires an energized version of you. Remember that. How are you going to meet your purpose? How are you going to act in that if you're tired, if you're out of it, you're not even thinking clear? How are you going to even find your purpose if you're not rested? So I want you guys to marinate on that for the wrap up of tonight's episode. Hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. I hope this episode inspires you to get more rest and to take care of yourself. And I hope you guys all have a great week and allow yourself to rest this weekend. Okay? But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please tap in with me every week. I'm on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Tell your friends about SpeakUpJV. Have them please comment, please subscribe. I love you guys all. But before I go, quick shout out to my amazing sponsors. Shout out to My Bar, located at 720 East Manchester, Inglewood, California. Get your nails, your lashes, your hair done. Ask for mine. Tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram is at myy.bar. And also shout out to Be Actual Natural. Why settle for less? All their products are created with you in mind for a goal to let your self-love show through your self-care. The chemical-free hair and skincare products are handmade, plant-based, and free of fillers or preservatives. Treat yourself by taking care of yourself. Start your journey at www.beactualnatural.com. The IG is at beactualnatural. I love you guys. Hope you guys all have a great week. I will see you guys next week. Take care and please get some rest. Bye.